Judge, chapter 16. Samson carried away Gaza's gate. One day, Samson went to the Philistine town of Gaza and spent the night with a prostitute. Word soon spread that Samson was there, so the men of the Gaza gathered together and waited all night at the town gate. They kept quiet during the night, saying to them, "When the light of the morning came, we will kill him." But Samson stay in bed and only until midnight. Then he got up, took hold of the door of the town gate, including the two posts, and lifted them up, bar and all. He put them on his shoulder and carried them all the way to the top of the hill across from Hebron. Samson and Delilah. Sometime later, Samson fell in with a woman named Delilah, who lived in the valley of Sorek. The ruler of Philistine went to her and said, "Entice Samson to tell you what makes him so strong, and how he can be overpowered and tied up securely. Then each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver." So Delilah said to Samson, "Please tell me what makes you so strong and what it would take to tie you up securely." Samson replied, "If I were tied up with 7 new bone string that has not yet been dried, I have become as weak as anyone else." So the Philistine ruler brought Daniel 7 new bone string, and he tied Samson up with them. He had hid some men in one of the inner rooms of her house, and he cried, "Samson, the Philistine has come to capture you." But Samson snapped the bone string as a piece of string snaps when it is burned by a fire. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. Afterward, Daniel said to him, "You have been making fun of me and telling me lie. Now please tell me how you can be tied up securely." Samson replied, "If I were tied up with brand new rope that has never been used, I would become as weak as anyone else." So Daniel took new rope and tied him up with them. The man was hiding in the inner room as before, and again Daniel cried out, "Samson, the Philistine has come to capture you." But again Samson snapped the rope from his arm as they were sweat. Then Daniel said, "You have been making fun of me and tell me lie. Now tell me how you can be tied up securely." Samson replied, "If you were weave the 7 braids of my hair into the fabric on your loom and tied up with my loop shadow, I will become as neat as anyone." So while he slept, then rolled the 7 braids of his hair into the fabric, then he tied it with a loop shadow. Again he cried out, "Samson, the Philistine will come to capture you." But Samson wake up, pull back the loop shadow, and yank his hair away from the loop and the fabric. Then Daniel pouted, "How can you tell me I love you when you don't share your secret with me? You have made fun of me 3 times now, and you still haven't told me what you make you so strong." He tormented him with his nagging day after day until he was sick to death of it. Finally, Samson shared his secret with her. "My hair had never been cut," he confessed, "for I was dedicated to God as a Nazarite from birth. If my head was shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as anyone else." Then he realized he had finally told her the truth, so he sent for the Philistine ruler. "Come back on one more time," she said, "for he had finally told me his secret." So the Philistine ruler returned with the money in their hand. Daniel lured Samson to sleep with his head in her lap, and then he called in a man to shave off the 7 locks of his hair. This way he began to bring him down, and his strength left him. Then he cried out, "Samson, the Philistine has come to capture." When he woke up, he thought, "I will do as before and shake myself free." But he didn't realize the Lord had left him. So the Philistine captured him and gouged out his eyes. They took him to Gaza, where he was bound to a bronze chain and forced to grind grain in the prison. But before long, his hair began to grow back. Samson's final victory. The Philistine ruler held a great festival, offering sacrifice and praised the Lord. Second, they thought, "God has given us victory over our enemy Samson." When the people saw him, they praised their God, saying, "Our God has delivered our enemy to us. The one who killed so many of us is now in our power." Half drunk by now, the people demanded, "Bring out Samson so she can amuse us." So he was brought from the prison to amuse them, and they had him stand between the pillar, support the roof. Samson said to the young servants who were leading him by the hand, "Place my hand against the pillars that hold up the temple. I went to rest against them." Now the temple was completely filled with people. All the Philippine rulers were there, and there were about 3,000 men and women on the roof who were watching as Samson amused them. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, "Seraphian Lord, remember me again, O God. Please restrain me just one more time. With one blow, let me pay back the Philistine for the loss of my 2 eyes." Then Samson put his hand on the 2 center pillars that held up to the temple. Pushing against them with both hands, he prayed, "Let me die with the Philistine." And then the temple crashed down on the Philistine ruler and all the people, so he killed more people when he died than he had during his entire lifetime. Later, his brother and other relatives went down to get his body. They took him back home and buried him between Zorah and Esther, where his father Mary was buried. Samson has judged Israel for 20 years. Chapter 17. Micah's idol. There was a man named Micah who lived in the hill country of Ephraim. One day he said to his mother, "I heard you place a curse on the person who stole the 11,000 pieces of silver from you. Well, I have the money. I was the one who took it. The Lord bless you for redeeming." His mother replied. He returned the money to her, and she said, "I now dedicate this silver coin to the Lord. In honor of my son, I will have an image carved and an idol cast." So when he returned the money to his mother, he took 200 silver coins and gave them to the silver smiths, who make them into an image and an idol, and they were placed in Micah's house. Micah set up a shrine for idol, and he made a sacred effort and some household idols. Then he installed one of his sons as his personal priest. In those days, Israel has no king. All the people did whatever seemed right in their own eyes. And one day, young Levite, who had been living in Bethel in Judah, arriving in that area, they had left Bethel in search of another place to live. And as he traveled, he came to the hill country of Ephraim. He happened to stop at Micah as he was traveling through. "Where are you from?" Micah asked him. He replied, "I'm a Levite from Bethel in Judah, and I'm looking for a place to live." "Stay here with me," Micah said, "and you can be a father and a priest to me. I will give you 10 pieces of silver a year, plus a change of clothes and your food." The Levite agreed to this, and the young man became like one of Micah's sons. So Micah installed the Levite as his personal priest, and he lived in Micah's house. "I know the Lord will bless me now because I have a Levite serving as my priest." Idolatry in the tribe of Dan. Now in those days, Israel has no king, and the tribe of Dan was trying to find a place where they could settle, for they had not yet moved into the land assigned to them when the land was divided among the tribe of Israel. So the men of Dan chose from their clan 5 capable warriors from the town of Zorah and Esther to scout out a land for them to settle in. When this warrior arrived in the hill country of Ephraim, they came to Micah's house and spent the night there. While at Micah's house, they recognized the young Levite accent, so they went over and asked him, "Who brought you here, and what are you doing in this place? Why are you here?" He told me about his agreement with Micah, and he had been hired as Micah's personal priest. Then they said, "Ask God whether or not our journey will be a success." "Go in peace," the priest replied, "for the Lord is watching over your journey." So the 5 men went on the town of Lies. When they noticed the people living carefree lives like the Zodiant, they were peaceful and secure. Then the people were also wealthy because the land was very fertile, and they lived a great distance from Sidon and have no ally nearby. When the men returned to Zorah and Ezra, the relative asked them, "What did you find?" The men replied, "Come on, let's attack them. We have seized the land and it's very good. What are you waiting for? Don't hesitate to go and take possession of it. When you get there, you will find the people living carefree lives. God has given us a spacious and fertile land lacking in nothing." So 600 men from the tribe of Dan, armed with weapons of war, set out from Zorah and Esther. They camped at the place west of in Judah, which is called Mahadan to this day. Then they went on from there into the hill country of Ephraim and came to the house of Micah. The 5 men who had scouted out the land around it explained to the others, "This building contained a sacred effort as well as some house idol, a carved image and a castle. What do you think you should do?" Then the 5 men turned off the road and went over to Micah's house, where the young Levite lived, and greeted his kindly. As the 600 armed warriors from the tribe of Dan stood at the entrance of the gate, the 5 scouts entered the shrine and removed the carved image and the sacred effort, the thousands, the household idol, and the cast idol. Meanwhile, the priest was standing at the gate with the 600 armed warriors. When the priest saw the men carry all the sacred objects out of Micah's shrine, he said, "What are you doing? Be quiet and come with us." They said, "Be a father and priest to all of us. Isn't it better be a priest for an entire tribe and the clan of Israel than for the household of just one man?" The young priest was quite happy to go with him, so she took along the sacred effort, the household idol, and the carved image. They turned and started on their way again, placing the children, livestock, and possession in front of them. When the people from the tribe of Dan were quite a distance from Micah's house, the people who lived near Micah came chasing after them. They were shouting as they catch up with them. The men of Dan turned around and said to Micah, "What is the matter? Why have you called these men together and chased after us like this? What do you mean? What is the matter?" Micah replied, "You've taken away all the gods I have made, and am a priest, and I have nothing left." The men of Dan said, What do you say? There are some short-tempered men around here who might get angry and kill you and your family. So the men of Dan continued on their way. When Micah saw that there were too many of them for him to attack, he turned around and went home. Then with Micah's idol and his priest, the men of Dan came to the town of Lash, whose people were peacefully executed the attack with sword and burned the town to the ground. There were no one to rescue the people, for they lived a great distance from the city and have no ally nearby. This happened in the valley near the Beth Road. Then the people of the tribe of Dan rebuilt the town and lived there. They renamed the town Dan after their ancestor Israel's son, but it had originally been called Lash. Then they set up the carved image, and they appointed Jonathan, son of Gershon, son of Moses, as the priest. This family continued as a priest for the tribe of Dan until the exile. So Micah's carved image was worshipped by the tribe of Dan as long as the tabernacle of God remained at Shiloh. Okay, and then we're going to the chapter 19. So those several chapters is talking about the end of Samson, and also is the tribe of Dan, how they get their land, and those story. And I want to say, people always doing things and don't follow God's commandment, and that's how Samson died. But also God gives their chance to repent, and those things remind us we need to follow God's commandment. And if you find your mistake, you must return and correct. God always will give you a chance, forgive your sin, and give you a better future. Alright, so that is today's Bible learning. Hope everybody like it. God bless you everyone, and see you tomorrow.